Hello? Okay, there we go. My mic is not... It's connected now. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another stream. It is Wednesday, and we finally had the things that we were expecting to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, Bitcoin's price has not moved at all, which is just annoying. Well, it moved, but to the downside, and I was expecting an upward movement, which we did not get. I have a trigger order ready at 100,298 in the case that we do drop, because it seems to be just not rising for whatever reason. So we're going to look into it. We're going to analyze what could potentially come next for Bitcoin, where I predict price movements will go. Spoiler alert, it is up. And also we will be talking about the government shutdown that is finally over. It's passed the House. Trump has signed it. We'll get into that in more detail. We have some comments from Scott Bessent, things that are being rolled out by Apple. And that guy, that Epstein guy, he's back. He's back from the grave. We try to bury him, but he just keeps poking his arm out from the grave and reaching for our souls. He will not leave us alone, so we're going to talk a bit more about him and this huge scandal that is going on now. Now that the Democrats are done with the government shutdown, seems like they're focusing on something else, according to Trump. So we're going to get into all of that for tonight. Should be a good one. So let's go ahead and commence. Bitcoin's price is 101,905. It was at 102,000 literally moments ago. We hit a high today. Well, we were this morning at 105,297, right over here. And then we just crashed all the way down to a low of 100,762. So that's $5,000 Bitcoin's price movement down today. And if I had to guess, it was just a bit of uncertainty as to whether or not we were indeed going to have the government shutdown lifted, right? Whether or not the House would vote appropriately. Stock markets and everything else were on the rise because, I mean, they had the right idea, but Bitcoin's price and the rest of the altcoins, not so much, a bit of suppression in the price. So, okay, what do I expect from here? Technically speaking, worst case scenario, we will likely not drop below 100,000. If we do have that last bastion of hope at 96, 97,000, as I always say, which I do not expect prices to go below that, right? We have three supports left. The 100,000 psychological level, 98,007 or 800, this local bottom that we hit on our lowest point and also supported by our support level from pivots, and then the final uptrend line, which depending on which time we're looking at, I think it's above 97,000 at this point, which also coincides with that 96,000 whatever level that we're seeing in the weekly chart, the super trend, 96,145. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be dropping below that. So, and if we do, the bull run is over. That is my honest theory of things. So are we in a dangerous zone? Yes, and we have been for the past couple of weeks. But the fundamentals are so strong, and I feel like we're still very undervalued, oversold, whatever you want to call it, and we do deserve to. We expect for Bitcoin to continue rising. When it comes to technical analysis, we are in an uptrend right over here. It invalidates if we break below 100,000. That is why I'm expecting a bounce. It might be a bit too early to enter, but I just don't want to miss the entry. And I'm starting to feel like maybe I have already missed the entry. Maybe this was the entry. But either way, I'm having my entry down over here at this zone just in case. So I'm a bit more defiant and like, I dare you to drop or to touch 100,000 again. Honestly, if it does, we could see a bounce, but RSI doesn't really support a bounce at this level over here when it comes to, you know, oversold or overbought levels. But we are in an uptrend, technically speaking. The uptrend that we're looking at is this one over here from a shorter term rise that I drew. Where did I have this one drawn from? Okay, so it's from our recent bottom compared to April 7 bottom, right? That's a bit more of a longer uptrend, right? Compared to the downtrend that we see is a little steeper compared to this one, meaning that I believe this downtrend line is more likely to be broken. We technically were supposed to have broken out of it. The downtrend line would have looked something like this from the highs of 28th of October and highs of November 2nd approximately. Would have looked a little like that, right? Which, given the rise that we had on November 9, where we hit 106, almost 107,000, we did eventually poke up there. That super trend did flip because of that. So that downtrend was removed. Awesome. What the hell just happened? So we're back over here. And like I said, this downtrend seems to be the more likely one to be erased. That's at least what I would expect, because this one comes from the actual all-time high on 6th of October, supported by the 28th of October as high. And like I said, this is less time worth and more steeper, so it's likely to be broken first. This one is more time worth, right? We're going as far back as April 7, and it's more shallow, right? Meaning that it's a slow and gradual rise, but there's enough buy pressure at this point. Maybe your analysis is a little different. Maybe you're using moving averages. You're probably going to notice that it's kind of the same trajectory as to where we are expecting prices to head up. And yeah, we are expecting prices to head up. That's what I'm trying to say. Immediate resistance we have on Bitcoin is 104,750, which is not that far off. Honestly, we did try, approaching that level. We did hit it a little above. Like I said, our high was 105,297, but we eventually dropped heavily down over here. Not far down enough to hit my trigger order. So I'm still waiting for that. But for now, price is just kind of stuck in the middle. It's been like this for the whole week now. And for a lot of altcoins as well. The fact that my average entry is basically at a resistance level, that's the only thing I hate. But I'm working to, if I do see any good opportunities, to go ahead and enter. That being said, we didn't see a lot of good opportunities for entries that meet my criteria when it comes to the RSI and altcoins, right? Nothing was really oversold today. Nothing of relevance. That is to say, because what is B2? What is Allo? Nobody cares about that. What is esports? I just saw this just came out and it's going high like crazy. We do have this listed on here. I saw it on my phone notification. 45%. What is this? Apparently it's existed for a while. A very long while. Keep loading. July 30. Okay. Oh, what did that say up here? I didn't even read what the AI said. Although I don't trust it, because that AI esports token surges 40% amid global gaming expansion. That's what it said. Nobody's playing games in 2025, am I right? We're too old for that stuff. Hi, Dog with Hoodie, welcome. You entered a long, feeling cooked. I've been long, and I'm also feeling pretty cooked. But I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I still feel fundamentals are super strong. We have so much good news. I don't see a negative headline about crypto other than the fact that people are saying, oh, we've overextended the run and we're going to crash and it's a bear market. I don't think we're there yet. We still got enough juice in this run to continue higher is what I'm speculating over here. And they've got a lot of technical analysis that supports it and a lot of fundamental analysis that supports it. If I'm right, market will pay me very good. So yeah, if not, then I quit and I delete channel. Easy. As if I never existed. No, I actually will not do that, but I think, what would I do? Bitcoin breaks below 96,000. I would immediately close out of the positions that I have, all of them. And I'm just going to sit out of the market until we break 100,000 once again. Then I'll just re-enter, and mainly just in Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin goes below 96,000, I'm sure that altcoins will suffer even harder, right? So I don't even want to imagine or begin to imagine what it's going to be like. That being said, I do have trigger orders here ready on some altcoins, which we're going to go ahead and analyze in a moment. But yeah, that's kind of my views on things for Bitcoin. I did want to get this order filled, but we didn't drop that low enough, unfortunately. So still waiting. We'll wait to see what happens. If we do have an overnight drop, then should be good. Should be ideal. As long as we bounce at 100,000, right? Okay, Ethereum still doing the thing with its downtrend. Not much to adjust over here, not much to change. It invalidates at 3,675 as mentioned. Yeah, really nothing has changed. We had a small rise of 3% and then a drop immediately after of the 3%, so as basically as if nothing happened. If you care at all, the highest point we reached was 3,586. Lowest point was 3,370. Current price is 3,436, down 0% today, which is awesome. I do have Ethereum, and I was considering maybe I should put an order down over here at 3,000, sub 3,115, right? But I don't know. Will that really happen? Like, these drops are so unjustified. I feel like it's, even now is a good price to enter, but I'm not going to do it because I've got enough in here. I'll let it do its thing. I do expect Ethereum, of course, to be above $4,000. This is the important downtrend line that I should be paying attention to, not these little temporary ones. Like these small ones, yeah, it'll flip the trend, the super trend green for the moment being while we make our rise. That being said, if this is indeed the bottom, I don't know, wherever we bottom out over here, an uptrend can sort of look like this while we're on our way up, right? Not exactly this, but you get the point. We have to wait and see, so more time is needed. Moving on to Solana. Also 0% movement, same 3% rise and a 2.5%, 3% drop later on. $154 currently. I also wanted to get this order filled at 144. I think I put this one live last night. I can't recall, but yeah. I did put more orders today, this morning, so I will be covering those when we get to those altcoins. I do expect, you know, this is a good entry for Solana. We would be oversold right over here like this, and should take us higher. Super trend should also maybe drop to, it would either stabilize at 170 or drop to 166, depending on how bad the drop is, right? Depending on where candles close, things like that. So that's what I am expecting on Solana. It would be good to drop this average price as well, as much as I can. It's currently at 180, my average price, so it's a little high, but that's kind of on me. I was doubling down on my entries over here for whatever reason, but I've been buying the dips appropriately where I had to. Maybe they just weren't enough because I've been buying since like 190 something. So, yeah. Now me trying to buy at 144, I think it's a good idea, so we'll see. I was in Hyperliquid before, as we know. We were on the rises here, didn't take profits, could have made, I think, a couple hundred. It wasn't too much that I put in either way. I put a stop loss at my entry price, and we got stopped out, and we are lower than where our entry price was. I think it was around 39 something. Current price of Hyperliquid is 38.51. So I did the right thing here, and I'm expecting this order to be filled next, although I think it's going to be a little too early when it comes to looking at RSI levels as well for oversold or overbought. No, not overbought, just really oversold when it comes to entries. So yeah, that being said, my limit price is at 37.06, and I got that level by very easy Fibonacci like this. See this line? Averaging out between the support level, just to kind of hope that that gets filled. But like I said, I don't think we'll be oversold by hitting 37. Maybe no, not even before we were not oversold. So Hyperliquid has not really been that oversold this whole time. I get it. This was a FOMO entry really on Hyperliquid. So yeah, I'm going to do, is this even a small amount? I have no idea how much I put in here. Let me calculate 8418 times 37,065. Oh, that's 1,000. Ooh, I don't know if I want to do that actually. What I'm going to do instead, 37,065, that same price, but I'm going to reduce it to 500. Might regret this, but we'll see. And then my second entry is, should I use the local low, 35.410? I don't know if I want to put it exactly there. What I could do instead is kind of look at this low compared to this high. Oh, well, that kind of supports the 37. Okay. I think I'll leave this here, and then I'll be manually looking at whenever Hyperliquid is genuinely oversold. I'll be paying attention, of course, to this. This is a great reference for, you know, alerting you, because you can't pay attention to so many altcoins at the same time. So I love the RSI heat map that Coinang provides. There's other ones as well, but they're a bunch of huge jumbled mess or difficult to understand. I find this one the simplest, so I'll be keeping an eye on it. Ethereum is moving. Okay. Yeah, it is on the rise a little bit, finally. It was literally 0%, now it's 1% up. Cool. Good stuff for Ethereum. I think like now's the time. Things should start moving up again. We have the government shutdown over. We're getting ETFs approved. XRP ETF will be coming out tomorrow. Are we moving with XRP? Yeah, we are. Cool, 3%. There we go. That's the kind of candles we want to see when it comes to spot ETFs getting released on the markets. We also are expecting no spot ETFs for Solana. I learned that the staking Solana ETFs are actually not that popular as the spot Solana ETFs, and those are yet to be released. We do have staking Solana ETFs out from Rex Osprey, from Bitwise, and Grayscale. Let me fact check myself live. Why did they change the font here? Come on. Solana. Did I say Bitwise? Yes, I did. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so those are out, and these have staking, right? And I mean, we do technically also have an XRP ETF that exists, but it is with staking. But we're getting an actual spot ETF that's coming out tomorrow. The staking ETF is also from Rex Osprey, and I don't know why nobody cares about Rex Osprey. I feel like they're the pioneers when it comes to this stuff. They also have a Dogecoin ETF out. So it's like they're clearly ahead of the game or doing something. I don't know what the deal is. I have to research like why nobody cares about those. But anyway, good bounce for XRP, I guess. Is it time to be bullish on XRP again? Can Stellar move or something? Let me see. Yeah, it's also on the rise. Because they're kind of correlated, right? Stellar and Ripple, XRP. Okay. Good rise as well from XLM, 2.7%. 0.2924. That's where we're at. Okay, cool. Yep, moving on. Get out. BitTensor, down 2%. Why? Supertrend is on its way down, which is good. It's approaching my average entry once again. My average entry is a resistance 100% of the time, which is just perfect. But it's looking like this downtrend is possibly going to be broken soon. That being said, I do not have an uptrend for you. I'll go to a weekly chart here. How much historical data do we have? This is Tether chart, so we should have enough. I think I will like what I'm about to see. Yeah, I do like that. What do you think? Lows from April 7, lows from September 29, makes a nice uptrend on BitTensor right over here. I could micro adjust, obviously ignoring October 10th. Why didn't I see this on my blind? Oh, I literally ignored it. That's crazy. I just ignored this down candle. Yeah, ignore October 10. That never happened, okay? That means... Oh, I don't know how I feel about this one then. That's kind of what it would look like. What do we do? What do we do with October 10? Do we just ignore all of these? I feel like we shouldn't. And if that's the case, this looks even worse. Okay. I'm just going to pay attention to the weekly chart instead. What are we at with the weekly charts? Super trend. Ooh, it's bearish. Bearish at 491, where it invalidates, which we kind of did poke above a little when we hit our high of 539.20 cents. Yeah, no, but we still got some room left to run. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know what to do with October 10, but I'm going to keep this drawn over here just in case, right? We're going to pretend October 10, October 11, that never happened. And yeah, this kind of works with, you know, a drop to maybe in the 320s of BitTensor. If, you know, worst case scenario, this does keep dropping, would be an excellent entry. not financial advice. But I may or may not have a trigger order around over here. Because I expect RSI to behave accordingly. Maybe. We'll see. SUI is at $2.01. SUI is lacking compared to XRP. What was XRP at? I didn't even read the price, did I? 248. Ooh. Am I wrong? No, SUI's got a lot of potential still, believe me. We've dropped a lot of the market cap list is one thing I was noticing. Like, I was just scrolling down here. I'm like, wow, SUI's number 20. It used to be like right near Stellar, you know, Chainlink, SUI. It was like right above over here. 3 billion in market cap just gone. And when we add this back, it is going to rise the prices a little higher, right? If we give SUI a, what, $10 billion market cap, what is that going to look like? That's 10 million, that's 10 billion times the circulating supply, 3 billion, 680 million, thousands, 100. Nice, I cannot do math. Can I undo this? I don't want to type all those zeros again. I had to divide, not multiply. No, I was right. Would it be 368? Am I doing my math wrong again? No, it does have to divide. Which way though? Okay, there's $10 billion divided by the 3 billion. Where are we? 680. That's billion. There we go. Oh, it rises to 271. That's not that good, is it? Yeah, okay. That's fine, though. 271, I'd still be content with. Because we'd be, like, over here, and that is a guaranteed. Where are we? 18% rise? I'd probably be out of SUI by then, so... That's kind of what I expect on SUI. This uptrend did not live up to the hype, unfortunate. We're gonna have to remove it, and... We are still in a downtrend with SUI. Why... Yeah, right. The charts deleted all my analysis, right? Where's our actual all-time high? 444? Really? Thought we hit $5. Am I wrong? What was SUI's all-time high? It should have been $5. It was 535, yeah. Scam. Let me go to a weekly chart over here. 524. Are we not going to get the right data here? I meant to click USDT chart. Come on. Alright, here's the correct historical data. 537. Whatever. I think we can ignore, you know, this long-term downtrend, which, I mean, it's pretty evident. It's either way, it's going to look something like this. It doesn't have to be exact. The next lines would look something like that. So let me go to a daily chart now. And then the current downtrend we're going for. Why is this order thing here? It's been like a ghost. It's been following me around. It just appears occasionally and it's annoying. Whatever. What else we got? Does this look any good? Probably not. I'll keep it drawn just in case though. Yeah, none of this looks good. So I'll just keep those drawn over here and flip back to this. I'm assuming the downtrend we would have to look at is going to be from this angle, ignoring October 10 once again. That kind of aligns a bit more with the super trend, although not exactly. Close enough, right? 225 is where it invalidates. We're at 201 right now, so 25 cents for SUI is easy money. All right. After SUI, we got Chainlink up 2% today, finally. Shutdown is over, so Chainlink has its function again. Why is Chainlink not above $20? You can ask the big boys, the big money. I'm assuming tomorrow will be a green day. It has to be. Monday was indeed a green day for, well, at least it was for the US markets. I'm sure crypto crashed eventually, but yeah. And same deal, right? Tomorrow, we don't got to worry about a government shutdown. We're going to be getting our economic data again in a limited fashion. And I'll also talk about that when we get to our news. So I did have a trigger order down over here at 1376. Looks like it's probably not going to get filled, but it's an appropriate entry because oversold you get the idea. You know how it works. So it's good. Downtrend is still there and validates at 1693. Current price 1566. Aptos 307. I'm not entering. I need a really good drop, and I don't know if it's gonna be at 276. I doubt it will be. Or if it's gonna be at 261, which I'm more inclined to believe. But if we enter at 261, the super trend is gonna flip red, and we will be in a downtrend. I don't know if we're specifically going to be able to bounce up from that immediately. I don't think so. So the drops could be a little harder than that for Aptos. Dangerous. So I'll stay out of it for now. And who cares about compounds? That's really all. So overall, I'm starting to believe, yeah, we are seeing early signs of recovery. We kind of stabilized with the price of Bitcoin, right? You'll notice we haven't been able to drop below 100,000 again, which is a good thing. That's kind of what we want to see. But we also are expecting things to be rising, but they're not. They're just flat on the ground. This is like ground level over here. Nobody wants to see Bitcoin go below 100,000, right? So here's where we're at. We're stuck. 102,176. But like I said, I have a very positive outlook for things, where they should belong, where they deserve to go. And I mean, Bitcoin's already in a green super trend. The rest of the altcoins will follow. And when they do, they'll follow big. Because only a couple $1 billion will just pump these things up 20%. Why is Zcash up 10% today? Corporate adoption, strategic pivot. I do have some news about Zcash. Forget the technical. Privacy coin momentum. Yeah. Oh, what a chart, by the way. Why was this worth $4,000 and now it's 500? We've been worth 30, 60 in the past. It's a terrible chart. But I mean, if you look at the yearly chart, yeah, it looks marvelous. I also talked about Zcash founders. They're looking for new founders. They're getting rid of the transgender founder because people didn't like that, so fair enough. Monero, also privacy coin, up 5% today. Cool. What is Canton? Canton. I've never seen this. Must be new, right? It is indeed new. Came out November 10, literally 2 days ago. Wow, welcome to the club. Why do you have a $4.5 billion market cap? What do you do? Another layer 1 smart contract blockchain. Hooray, we need more of those. The network uses a two-tier consensus mechanism, allows for unlimited horizontal scalability of the network while maintaining full smart contract interoperability. Infinite max supply. The total supply is in circulation. That's a positive, but I don't know how fast they will be minting new tokens and for what reason. How the governance will work. What kind of a blockchain is this? What do you mean February 2025? This existed 2 days ago. What are you talking about? No, I know there's obviously other stuff going on in the background before the release. That's obvious. I'm assuming this is obviously proof of stake. It's gotta be. Let me see this. It's also a privacy-focused blockchain. Oh, yay, another one. So it's basically a Monero copy then. With RWAs. Tokenomics via burn mint. So they power the network fees, rewards, and governance with supply dynamically adjusted through usage-driven burns and emissions. So the more we use this blockchain, the more tokens it burns, which keeps the inflation under control. If not, then it's gonna get out of control, and if nobody uses it, of course. They process $6 trillion in tokenized assets daily. It's been 2 days. Including US treasuries, repos, and institutional stablecoins. Is this real? I'm not sure I believe you there. Who's even sending $6 trillion in total? You get rewarded from validating app providers, super validators. There was nothing pre-mined, so there's no proof of work then. That's what I'm getting from it. Okay, cool. I don't know. Just huge side tangent. I just noticed this thing exists. So, hey, welcome, I guess. Okay. Nothing else very notable, right? That is on the rise. Top gainers. Yeah, it's just Zcash, Monero, and then Dead Cat Bounce from XRP. Whatever. Okay, cool. Moving on. Let's get on to our new section. Spent 30 minutes talking about technical analysis. That's not that good, is it? So here we go. The House was set to vote on the government shutdown today. Final vote was expected tonight, and it happened. It took 1 hour. The shutdown chapter is finally closing, the government is reopening, and Trump was expected to sign as soon as possible. Money that's been sitting on pause will start moving again. Here were the final votes. I don't know how to read this, but 215 Republicans voted yay, 2 said nay, 2 no vote. The Democrats, 6 of them voted yay against 206 that voted nay. So in total, yeah, we got enough yay votes to pass. And 4 people ended up not voting in total. Cool. Good stuff. So the final phase of the US government shutdown, it did end tonight. The vote happened around 7 p.m. Eastern time. I thought it was at 4, and then they just decided last minute to push it over to 7 p.m. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here and do nothing for 3 hours. Thanks for ruining my day. To approve the same bill the Senate had already passed. If it goes through, Trump will sign it within hours. He did, which officially reopens the government. Here's what happens next. Federal agencies will reopen. Furloughed workers will return. The back pay will also begin. Treasury will unlock $950 billion plus from the TGA balance that's been frozen since October. I have no clue what TGA is. Liquidity starts flowing again as contract spending payments, those will resume. Markets, especially risk-on assets like Bitcoin, will react when liquidity returns. When liquidity returns, which is tomorrow. That's when, of course, stock markets reopen. Everything reopens and people will start moving money around, and it's going to be a busy day tomorrow, I feel like, because everybody's back to work now. It isn't the end of the shutdown, it's the beginning of a liquidity wave. Let's hope that is indeed the case. And Trump was expected to sign this at 9:45, by the way. I just want to call him out for being 30 minutes late. Thank you for also wasting my time, but it's fine. He announced it live and talked a bit about it, and there you go. It's done. Trump has signed the bill to officially end the 43-day U.S. government shutdown, which is now the longest in history. We went through a lot in our lifetime, haven't we? So, cool. Can we start pumping again? I'm seeing red. All right. Now, the economic data, what's going to happen with that? Our beloved White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said the Democrats may have permanently damaged the federal statistical system with October Consumer Price Index and jobs reports likely never being released. We're never going to know what happened in October. That is crazy. Or it would have been for the month before that. You get the point. I think we should, right? We should be allowed to see what those numbers are, but seems like they're going to use the excuse of, oh no, the government was shut down, so you're not getting any economic data for the month of October. It's as if we just skipped a month. Okay, fine. November numbers better be good then. We're in the middle of November, so we're going to have to wait and see when that economic data does indeed decide to come out. Do we have any updates on the economic calendar? Let me have a look. All this data, look at this, is still pending. This is scheduled for tomorrow, but there's no time of when we're going to be seeing this. This is data that comes from like core inflation rate for October, inflation rate October, CPI, initial jobless claims, continuing jobless claims for September as well, September 27. And then others from October 4. Of course, we have some in November, early November, since we're still November 12th today. Jobless claims, producer price index, right? All that from October and September. Most of this will likely not even be released, is what they're saying. They're just going to bundle it up and release it for November, or I guess October, if we're talking about the previous month in September. Yeah, a lot of economic data that we are supposed to be expecting. And this is me just skipping over actual economic data that we're supposed to be getting. Here's some that we're guaranteed to get at least by the end of the month, right? Core PCE, GDP growth rate, things like that. Jobless claims, that should all start coming out again. Who cares about Canada? Existing home sales, I don't think anyone cares about that. FOMC minutes, that's happening next week. Important meeting of the Fed to see what they talk about. We're not going to know exactly, or it's not going to be streamed live. It's usually a closed door meeting, right? Okay. Yeah, so that's what we're expecting in terms of economic data from here on out. Nothing for the previous months, maybe. Scott Bessent made a lot of comments on Fox News today. He spoke about the shutdown, saying that it was never about the healthcare for Democrats. It was about stopping President Trump's agenda at any cost, and they were willing to waste tens of billions of taxpayer dollars to do it. So, of course, they're putting the blame on Democrats. I was watching the news as well today, and they said that people actually believe it's the Republicans' fault behind the shutdown, which, wow, they're really believing the Democrats on this, aren't they? The only point I see from the Democrat side blaming the Republicans is that they don't want Americans to have healthcare. Well, first of all, it's probably for illegal aliens. And the second part is Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, they control the White House. This is the Republican shutdown. That was their tweet that they've been posting every day during the shutdown. Or at least it felt like every day. I've been seeing it all the time come up in my feed, and it's pretty annoying. Makes me want to unfollow the Democratic Twitter account, but I'm trying to be not biased and take perspectives from both angles always on the show. So yeah, I do have my political opinions, of course, and sometimes they'll slip out, but overall I try to keep it, in the middle, unbiased, and ultimately whatever leads towards the truth and things that drive the markets, right? Because that's ultimately what we're here for. Will the cryptos go up? That's what we're here for. So, yeah. Okay. Yes. Either way, he says that the economy is thriving with 3.8% growth. Where's the source? And we're on track to accelerate even further into 2026. Let's hope that's not an exaggeration and that is indeed a fact, because that would be cool if the economy does indeed perform well. We would expect it to. Trump also, Scott Bessent talked about the Trump accounts, which I've talked about many months ago, but he's bringing it back up again. I don't know if it was signed into law yet, but here's the details. Every child born retroactively to January 1st, 2025, and also for the next 3 years, is going to get $1,000 account that is going to be invested in the U.S. stock market. So every baby that is born, the government will pay basically that child's portfolio $1,000 that automatically gets invested in the S&P 500. So that when they're 18, it rises to, I don't know, some people did the math and I think it's about 5,000, maybe a 5x return. If people did the math before asking Grok, hey, if you invested, did anybody talk about it here just in case? They say something like, if you invested $1,000 18 years ago in the S&P 500, what would it be at today? I think it's literally this. It triples your money. So, okay, 3,000 is what some people are saying. Okay, interesting. And I mean, yeah, how many babies are born? How much money is that going to be added to the stock market? Probably not much. We're talking about thousands compared to a $1 trillion market. So, but I mean, it's a start and it's good overall. Guaranteed $1,000 that's being bought for every baby that's born. Yep, it's another $1,000 for working families, basically. He also said that we're going to be seeing substantial tariff announcements over the next couple of days. Please don't be the bad kind of tariff announcements. He says that will bring the prices down very quickly. That's also been an issue, is the whole affordability thing. So let's hope that is indeed the case. We'll see. All right, moving on. Also, he talked about the two major stimulus plans, right? The first one being the Trump Accounts Program. He's literally calling it the Trump Accounts Program. Okay, so the $1,000 for every kid that's born. That's part one. Part two, I know I'm flipping this around, but part two, the $2,000 rebate plan, the dividend that we're going to be getting. Not we. I'm not receiving anything. You guys will if you're in the US. Families that earn under $100,000 will be the ones that will receive $2,000 in a direct rebate. So, I don't know, pull up the statistics. How many American families earn under $100,000? Times that by $2,000, that's the amount of money that's being spent. There's going to be a couple $100 billion, right? Cool. All of this is coming from tariff revenue, and the rest of that money will be used to pay off, or not pay off, but pay down the government debt. If you pay off the debt, that's impossible. $37 trillion, nobody has that money. Maybe PayPal USD can help, but I don't know. They're weird. This would work as a tax credit or cash payment, which puts money directly into households and increases short-term spending and liquidity. We like stimulus checks. They'll do good for the stock markets as well. It's designed to offset rising living costs and give a short-term push to consumer demand. And like I said, this is probably 5D chess once again coming from Trump when we're talking about this rebate. People are going to like a rebate, right? If the government just gave you, hey, here's $2,000, you're going to be like, hey, thanks, government. I have my opposing political views about you, but whatever, I'll accept the $2,000. Thank you. Okay. And then I accidentally hit my space bar. And then Trump is going to go to the Supreme Court and be like, hey, look, see, the tariffs aren't a bad thing. People are getting money. So we should keep tariffs and don't deem them illegal because, first of all, you're going to be taking money away from these Americans, taking away money from the United States because we have to refund all these countries that we collected tariffs from, and you'll just ruin the economy in general. So you got a lot to lose if you do go against me, is kind of what Trump is doing here. That's at least what I take away from this. Anyways, in simple terms, more cash in the hands of consumers, more money flowing into equities, stronger foundation for risk assets. You know what is a risk asset? This thing right over here, the Bitcoins. Fiscal policy is turning easing and liquidity always find its way into Bitcoin and crypto. Good. Like I said, a lot of bullish things going on. This is a free infinite money glitch, by the way, with Polymarket. You bet $2,000 on Polymarket that Trump will give out a $2,000 dividend. If it hits, you walk out with a $16,000 profit. If it doesn't hit, you'll lose your $2,000, but then Trump gives you $2,000 anyways, right? If I think this is worded wrong, but you're voting $2,000 that yes, Trump will give out stimulus check. There's a 90% chance that Trump doesn't follow through on his $2,000 tariff dividend promises. Oh, it's actually the opposite according to Polymarket. Okay. Yeah, so if that is right, you get a huge payout with $16,000 profit. But if not, I mean, either way, Trump did follow through with his promise and he gave you $2,000 anyway, so you break even. So nothing happened. Risk-free. So funny. Crazy what the things that you can do on Polymarket. You're betting on just the most random stuff. Will Jesus return? Will a nuclear apocalypse happen? I don't understand people that vote for the opposite. If a nuclear apocalypse does happen, nobody's going to be alive to claim the money. So you might as well vote, for the obvious answer that no, nothing is going to happen, and you get a small payout. And either way, if you're wrong and a nuclear apocalypse does happen, like I said, you're gonna be dead anyway. So who cares? Polymarket. What do we do? What do we do with these prediction markets, man? All right. Paul Atkins. What are we doing here? He unveils token taxonomy. So our SEC chair announces a token taxonomy to redefine crypto regulation. At the FinTech conference, hey, I studied this, Sec Paul Atkins outlined Project Crypto's next step, which would be to create a framework to categorize digital assets, including Bitcoin, under U.S. securities laws. This clarity for the digital asset industry will encourage innovation while maintaining strong investor protection. What do we say here? He significantly shifted the agency's stance on crypto regulation, moving away from previous interpretations that broadly classified most tokens as securities. Thanks to Gary Gensler. This gives you PTSD with XRP, doesn't it? Most popular crypto tokens, such as Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, are considered network tokens, connected to a functioning decentralized blockchain network, which are exempt from being classified as securities. Good. A token should only be considered a security if purchasers are expecting profits from the essential managerial efforts of others. Wow. Due to promises from the issuer that must be explicit and unambiguous. I want AI to summarize this in simpler terms because that didn't make too much sense. But anyway, Paul Atkins also suggested companies should be given up to 6 months to address issues before enforcement is considered. That's a good buffer of time, right? Before everybody just starts going to court over this stuff. This represents a significant shift from the regulation by enforcement approach that the SEC adopted under Gary Gensler, and that's why it was a huge problem for years with XRP specifically, right? Yeah, that's what we got. Hello, Suzanne. Where can I buy ALX 2049 tokens in the pre-sale? ALX 2049. I've never heard of that. I have no idea where. And a pre-sale? Huh. Do we have this over here? ALX? No. Sometimes the exchanges, sometimes BingX does have like little promotional stuff when it comes to pre-sales, but I don't know specifically about that token. You're gonna have to research that. President Trump is hosting a private dinner tonight with leading Wall Street executives. Who's going to be there? CEOs of JP Morgan, so that's Jamie Dimon, Goldman Sachs, I don't know the guy's name, Morgan Stanley, Blackstone, and NASDAQ. The meeting will center on financial policy, market conditions, and future regulatory cooperation. Should be a good thing, right? Trump and his billionaire friends. Speaking of the billionaires and friends, Epstein is back from the dead, as I said. There was this email that came out, for whatever reason it comes out today, this very old email from, I think it's Ghislaine Maxwell to, what's his name? Jeffrey Epstein. Talking about Trump. This was the email right over here saying that, well, I guess it's like, hey, Epstein, I wanted you to realize that that dog hasn't barked. That dog that hasn't barked is Trump. They redact the victim's name, which apparently is a victim from the sex trafficking, of course. That victim spent hours at my house with him, with Trump. And Trump has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. I have no idea what they're talking about there. Victim, Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Okay, well, there you go. Even Epstein is defending himself here. But only the first half of this email was released, right? This second half to Michael Wolff, whoever that is, basically is saying Trump is, not that he's innocent, specifically, but that he did reject whatever, or what's the word? He rebuked, I don't know what else to say, the actions of, after he figured out what Jeffrey Epstein did. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk. Which basically has already been confirmed, right? Trump, as soon as, they say, the story goes, is that Trump, as soon as he found out about what Jeffrey Epstein was up to, he banned him from Mar-a-Lago, and yeah. So this basically confirms that. But, I mean, the big news is that, the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein alleged that U.S. President Trump spent hours with a sex trafficking victim, says the newly released emails. And then people are calling out the, well, what is this? People are calling out the hypocrisy, or they're leaving out the facts. But the Democrats, of course, are loving this when it comes to The possibility of impeaching Trump. Despite Mike Johnson's attempts to who cares about Adelita Gravitilla? Now, we are expecting next week to have... Wait, is it next week? I don't know for sure when it is. Next week, I know, is the stock congressional trading ban that people will be voting on. But there's also this other issue with the Epstein files. A petition to force a vote to release the Epstein files. Americans deserve the truth. Release the Epstein files. Will the filibuster work in favor of the Republicans this time? I don't know for sure. I don't have the tweet pulled up from Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she's in favor of releasing it. She's one of the few Republicans in favor of releasing the Epstein files. Nancy Mace is there. I think her name is, or his name, Boebert, something Boebert. I don't know who it is. And then Thomas Massie also. Those 4 Republicans are in favor of releasing the Epstein files. The rest of them are Democrats, and it's only the Republicans that are opposing it, and I'm pretty sure Trump is wanting them to oppose releasing the Epstein files, but it's been brought up again. It was all silenced, by the way, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Literally hours after, they removed something. They canceled the vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, and once again, it all got buried because of the amount of noise. The shot heard around the world, of course, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, so... Well, now it's been brought back up over here. Epstein files, here we go. Trump says the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown, and also on many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. So there you go. There's Trump trying to pressure his Republican Party to not vote to release the Epstein files. Why? Just release them. Anyway, the Democrats will cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics of viciously closing our country. Wow, is that real? While at the same time putting many at risk. And they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else. Awfully defensive. And any Republicans involved should be focused only on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. That's what Trump thinks about the whole situation. Okay. I'm not saying that Trump is guilty. I don't think he is. I don't see him as that kind of guy. Yeah, there's evidence that he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, but everybody else declines that they stayed friends after he figured out what was going on, really. So, I don't know. I want to believe that Trump is clean in all this. But it's just very suspicious when it comes to all this defensiveness over it. Nobody can deny that. And we saw this happen many months ago. A lot of people were losing confidence in Trump because of the way that this was very poorly handled. I will admit that. Where, we had that 1 minute of security footage edited out of when Jeffrey Epstein allegedly died. Not that he allegedly died, but he allegedly killed himself. We don't know what really happened. We had some Republicans saying, yeah, it's really weird how, I definitely feel like there's something sinister going on. And then as soon as the time came to actually get it released and stuff like that, everybody was like, yeah, no, he killed himself. Case closed. Nobody's allowed to talk about this anymore. FBI ruled that Jeffrey Epstein did indeed kill himself, and that is it. Moving on, right? It's okay, well, no, you can't just do that. What really happened? Release the files. And, that's what we're disputing right over here right now. So we'll see if they indeed follow through. Trump facing impeachment again is a real possibility. This comes if Democrats perform well next year in the midterm elections, because that happens every 4 years. Every 2 years is the elections, right? The U.S. general elections and then the midterms. General elections, midterms, etc. They will retake the House if they do well, and they will have the votes needed to begin impeachment proceedings, which is just going to be another obstacle in the way. Historically, the opposition party picks up a few seats, so they have a shot. However, it's unlikely that the Senate will have enough votes to convict and remove President Trump, so things probably won't go much further from there. We're looking at the prediction markets here, and it's looking like there's a 53% chance that Trump will be impeached again. It's up in the air. It's a coin toss at this point. Speaking of coin toss and coin loss, the United States ended the production of the pennies on Wednesday. That's today. For more than 230 years, the penny has circulated through American piggy banks and cash registers, but rising production costs, each penny costs nearly 4 cents to make, and shifts in consumer behavior have made it impractical to keep producing them. Wow, it costs 4 cents to make 1 cent. How much money wasted is that? So there we go. No more pennies will be produced. I mean, here in Canada, we've far gotten rid of that, but that's because our currency is trash. Cash App will allow customers to pay over Bitcoin rails using a USD balance starting tomorrow, letting anyone pay in Bitcoin, which is good. Adoption. UK reform leader Nigel Farage promises to create a Bitcoin reserve if elected prime minister. Well, he has my vote now. Get that Keir Starmer guy out of office. He agrees Bitcoin is scarce, secure, and impossible to inflate away. Unlike paper money, Bitcoin cannot be printed into worthlessness. And I'm not sure, but I've heard that the UK Reform Party is gaining popularity amongst the youth when it comes to conservatism, things like that, because the current party in power in the UK, the Labour Party, I think they're more liberal, on the liberal side of things, Keir Starmer. So, hey, maybe it's time for a change, and maybe we get the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, because we want these guys to be pumping our bags. What is this? Get out of here, please. Okay, well, that notification will stay there permanently. Okay. So, I'm sure we all know this summary of what happened. Bitcoin falling to 101,000, even as stocks and gold rallied ahead of the House vote to end the US shutdown. And now that the shutdown is over, those markets are closed, why isn't Bitcoin pumping? We still slid 3.4% from 105 to 101,000. What is going on? Is this actually going to permanently stay here? All right. And it's gone to the point where the prediction markets are expecting that Bitcoin drops to 90,000, below 90,000. Although the odds are not in their favor, it's a 35% chance that they expect Bitcoin to fall below 90,000. Which at this point, yeah, fine. I would give it that percentage chance as well, but like I said, the odds are still in our favor. And the only reason why I agree with this specific number, the 35% chance, I think the big catalyst of that is going to have to do with rate cuts. Flashbang warning, by the way. We're back to 33% of whether or not we will see a rate cut. 33% chance, I'll round this up to 35% chance, we don't see a rate cut versus a 65% chance that we do see a rate cut for the month of December. Rate cuts, good. Weakens US dollar, strengthens Bitcoin, right? And we need Bitcoin to rise. So, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? There's a I'm rounding these numbers, 35% chance that the US dollar does not get a rate cut, meaning that it will strengthen against Bitcoin, and that would be enough of a catalyst to drop it below 90,000. And if that happens, yeah, bull run is over. So we're probably hanging on a very thin thread. Is that how to say it? You know, crucial area right over here. But we still got some time. Whether or not we'll get this rate cut, we have to wait until December 10 to know for sure. And also the economic data that should now be coming out again would help us, modify or kind of accurately predict the odds, which we'll be following this closely, especially as we approach December 10. We still got a full month to go worth of economic data to suffer through, so let's wait and see. It's going to be a make or break for Bitcoin. Can only hope for the best. Ethereum is getting an upgrade next month. It's probably why we're rising. Not really. We're not really rising, but in recent hours, yeah, after government shutdown is out of the way, we can now focus on fundamentals, and we've got some good fundamentals coming on for Ethereum. On December 3rd, Ethereum's Fusaka upgrade will go live. Who picks these names? It's one of the biggest upgrades and will completely change how Ethereum handles transactions, its layer 2 blockchains, and overall network speed. So here's what's going to happen. Get ready. Fusaka is a major Ethereum upgrade designed to fix the network's biggest problem, the scalability. It increases Ethereum's block capacity from 45 million to 150 million gas and adds two key systems that completely change how data is handled. Pure DAS lets Ethereum process layer 2 transactions faster and cheaper, so whatever layer 2s exist on Ethereum will be better. And Verkle trees to make blockchain storage lighter and easier to verify. What weird names, aren't they? The result is that Ethereum will handle far more activity with lower costs. How much specifically? I don't think we got those numbers. And I don't think we're going to be better than Solana here. Otherwise, Solana is done for. If Ethereum manages to go over, what would it be, 10,000 transactions per second from the 4,000 that they have now? Where is the... I have the blockchain chain spec. Here it shows you all the stuff. Solana does... Oh, it's... Oh, they've changed. In theory, Solana can do 65,000 transactions per second. In theory, Ethereum can do... Oh, that's even worse than I thought. I thought it was 4,000. It's 178 transactions per second that Ethereum can do. Which is why it's so expensive, because it cannot process that many transactions. There's a lot of people using it, and it, you know, network fees, the congestion, it adds to the gas fees that you eventually have to pay to send a transaction from one place to another. The only issue is that everything uses Ethereum, and not that everything uses Ethereum, but it's the most OG blockchain that is out there, and a lot of things already exist on Ethereum. So what are you going to do? Change? So yeah. Celo. Is this what I just looked at? Celo? Celo? It's not this, right? It was something else. Hold on. This is just a tangent. What was it called? Canton. Okay, I was thinking of something else. Forget that. All right. So it should improve that, in theory, the transactions per second. Why this matters for users. So, okay, every layer 2, like Arbitrum, Base, Optimism, they depend on Ethereum for settlement. Right now, every Ethereum node has to download huge chunks of data to verify those transactions, and the Fusaka upgrade will fix this. With Pure DAS, the nodes will only verify samples instead of full datasets, cutting costs and speeding up the process. That means cheaper rollups, faster confirmations, smoother DeFi and NFT experience. The economy of Ethereum. It will affect it when rollups become cheaper, activity on layer 2 chains rises. I will agree with that, right? If things are cheaper, people will want to use it more, right? Things are super cheap on Solana, for example, and that's why everybody's using Solana. Or wants to use Solana. That means more users, more apps, more fees. They're being burned directly, boosting Ethereum's demand. Fusaka strengthens Ethereum's position as the main settlement layer for the entire crypto economy, from DeFi to tokenized assets. Why it could be bullish? The last major update that we had, Pectra, it triggered a 50% rally in Ethereum within a week because it improved network efficiency. Fusaka goes even further. It doesn't just make Ethereum efficient, it makes it capable of supporting the next wave of growth. Bigger capacity, lower costs, more usage. That's exactly what the market tends to reprice. The merge made Ethereum energy efficient, and Fusaka will make Ethereum economically efficient. I hope that is the case. Awesome. Looks like we're getting bots on the channel. That's two people asking for the exact same question. ALX 2049 scam confirmed. Thanks, guys. Okay. Moving on. NASDAQ has officially certified Canary Capital's XRP ETF listing. We're getting it tomorrow at market open. XRPC is the ticker. Meaning that right now it probably doesn't exist, but I want to verify either way. XRPC. Yeah, it doesn't exist yet. But first ever XRP ETF coming out. It's spot, right? It doesn't specify, but I'm sure it's spot. Spot XRP ETF. That's kind of what we want. Because the other ETF, the Rex Osprey one. Hey, Blowing Chunks, thanks for not being a bot. Rex Osprey. How do I do it? I know SSK is the Solana one. Okay, Rex-Osprey. That's literally what I typed. Rex-Osprey. XRP ETF. Here, I'm blind. XRPR. Like, this already exists. Okay, fine. Won't let me search up like that. XRPR, thank you. Rex Osprey, XRP ETF. Does this have staking? Mirrors XRP's price performance. It's literally a spot XRP ETF then. This is what I'm saying. Why does nobody care about Rex Osprey? What is going on here? I have to do research on this because it's absurd. But whatever. Canary Capital, genuinely large company. Yeah, they're getting it. An update on Chainlink ETFs here. Bitwise's Chainlink ETF was listed on DTCC. Doesn't mean it's out yet, but it's basically proposed. Institutional interest in Chainlink rises. That's what we want to see. It's going to be coming out under the ticker CLNK, Bitwise Chainlink ETF, which signals a strong move toward possible SEC approval soon, now that the SEC is back in business. Government shutdown is over. Note that the listing is part of the standard clearing and settlement preparation process, does not indicate that the ETF has received regulatory approval yet. What's interesting is that the DTCC actually integrated with Chainlink's CCIP and CRE. Chainlink is indeed everywhere. That's why it is such an important project and it is so undervalued. It's crazy. We're up 2%. So just 15%. What is this lie? 15% as manufacturing tech plans emerge. I hate this AI so much. It gives you so much misinformation. I hate it. BingX, that's my only critique of your darn AI. So much misinformation. And it's generally a stupid AI. I ask it something like, what did I ask it? Analyze my position or something like that on, I gave it some random asset. I think it was World Liberty Finance against USDC. And then it checked the USDT chart and said, you don't have any entries on the World Liberty Fi USDT. And I'm like, I said USDC in my prompt. What do you mean? Why are you looking at USDT? Whatever. So, really stupid AI. Moving on. Coinbase. They announced that they will be leaving Delaware State and reincorporating in Texas. The decision was not made lightly, but will always do what's best for our customers, employees, shareholders. I'm not reading all this, but Brian Armstrong backed this, saying that we have always been about increasing economic freedom, and this factors into the state where we chose to incorporate. Texas has a strong culture of celebrating builders who are growing our economy, creating prosperity for all, and they've also embraced crypto. By this metric, it was an easy choice. Thank you, Governor Greg Abbott, for the help. The part where it's saying embracing crypto, I had the map, the good old map. Let me see if I can find U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve map. Texas, approved. I don't think there's been any updates on this. The same 3 states are here. Arizona, Texas, New Hampshire. The only states with an approved Bitcoin Strategic Reserve for their state. Right? And, I mean, with their rainy day funds, they could purchase 233,000 Bitcoins. I don't think they will. That would be more than what the US owns. No, the US owns more now, 325,000 Bitcoins. Because they stole from China. How cool is that? US will be number 1 in crypto. Confirmed. Altcoin rally could be near. Tokens like Zcash are starting to move. Like I said, it's the biggest riser today. Other tokens like Uniswap, Arrow, they're showing early signs of recovery. I don't know why. With the government shutdown ending soon, it did, and 16 plus altcoin ETFs pending approval, that is a lot, including XRP, Cardano, Litecoin. Things that maybe now's a good chance to be in, but it goes against my strategy to be buying in right now, so I wait for good opportunities, oversold opportunities. When there's blood on the streets, that is the time to make the gains. We could be on the verge of an explosive alt season like previous cycles, and here is a chart that nobody should be paying attention to because these dates are irrelevant. 2016, 5 years later, 2021. Oh, 5 years later, 2026. Hey, maybe they're right. If we are indeed following a 5-year cycle for whatever reason. But whatever, I don't pay too much attention to those charts. But I do agree with the analysis that, yes, things should start going on the rise once again. More news about Zcash, and I think this is probably part of the reason why it is rising. there's a company listed on the stock exchange called Leap Therapeutics, surged 170% after rebranding to Cypherpunk Technologies and buying $50 million worth of Zcash. That's not a lot, but their plan is to scoop up at least 5% of all the Zcash in circulation. Let's do the math, shall we? Zcash has same tokenomics as Bitcoin, right? Maximum 21 million tokens. There's 16 million in circulation. What did I say? 5%? 5% of all that? What is the number again? 16,300,000. 5% of that is $815 million, and they just bought 50 million? Yeah, 50 million. So minus 50. They still have... Oh, well, how smart of me, huh? Minus 50 million. No, that's 50,000. Oh, wait. Oh, so they already... Am I doing my math wrong? Did I miss a zero somewhere? Because if that's the case, they already bought 5% of the supply. No, that can't be real. I definitely missed a zero or something. Good lord, they are for sure going to go bust all in. Going all in on Zcash. I know, right? Just do it with Bitcoin. If companies are going to do this, just do Bitcoin. It's the safest bet. Why are we focusing on these random altcoins? Okay, once again, 16,300,000 Zcash tokens in circulation. Oh, hold on. 5% of that is 815,000 tokens, not dollars. There's where I messed up. Okay. Each token, each one of these costs $512 at the current price. There we go. Now it makes more sense. $417 million that they are planning to buy, which $50 million have already been purchased. 50 million, meaning that they are going to be buying another $367 million is what they're planning to do, approximately, if these prices maintain around these levels. We don't know with this, because Zcash went from $40, $30 to $500, so anything can happen. But yeah, good for both companies, I guess. Just letting you know, Arthur Hayes is planning to sell. No, maybe I think he's going to be buying more, because he's weird. Okay. So yeah, that obviously does explain the rise for today, 10% up upon this news. Good. If you were in it, I'm not. Hyperliquid temporarily paused its Arbitrum bridge after traders' $30 million PopCat long position was liquidated within seconds, forcing the platform's community-owned vault to absorb $4.9 million in losses. Interesting. This guy got liquidated so hard that it even... like, there was not enough liquidity, I guess, that it also liquidated Hyperliquid's money, $4.9 million worth of it. So they had to pause Arbitrum. And people are saying, oh, but I thought this was a decentralized exchange. Yeah, but there's a team behind it, and that means it's not decentralized. So I guess you're right. Anyway, there's that. And then my last bit of news for tonight. Wow, I've been streaming for a very long time. Apple has officially launched Digital ID, a new way to add an ID such as a US passport and an Apple Wallet in the United States. There's people in favor and people against this, of course, the Digital ID stuff. The UK is already doing this kind of thing, and people don't want to see this in the US. I don't know. Everyone disliked that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. At launch, the users will be able to use their digital ID at TSA checkpoints in the airports, at more than 250 airports in the US for domestic travel. Just another reason to not own an Apple device, am I right? If you know me, I'm very anti-Apple. But I'll still buy their stock. Okay, so there we go. That's all the news I had to cover for tonight. I have an announcement to make. Well, first of all, how many subscribers are we at? 492. We're 8 subscribers away from 500. That's pretty big. Thanks, guys. So since I don't have a job anymore, because I announced yesterday, yeah, I got laid off. I made a surprise, no, not really a surprise stream, because now I stream at 11. But things are going to be changing a bit here. I'm going to go back to my normal stream schedule of 9 p.m. because my streams usually go for maybe an hour. Sometimes I go a bit over. And, you know, at this time, it's literally midnight. It's 12:18 a.m. And I want to go to sleep. So from now on, I'm going back to my old schedule. Now that my shift, where I used to work at, will no longer conflict with the stream schedule, right? Because my shift used to go from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. and I would stream at 9. That didn't make sense. I had to stream at 11 and I had to rush to like get all the stuff from the short amount of breaks that I had to, you know, find news to talk about for the stream I would have in the night. So luckily that's all kind of out of the way. This is, I don't want to say getting laid off from work is a good thing, but it kind of worked out in my favor. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm still applying for new positions everywhere. Maybe I'll do a bank position. I want to work for a bank. I think it would be pretty cool. Nice flex. And also I gain more financial knowledge. I mean, I'm already very deep into this whole space. I might as well broaden my knowledge with whatever banks are doing when it comes to investments, insurance, just general day-to-day banking, bill payments, things like that. I want to get my ears blown out by a customer who is enraged because they made a mistake on paying their credit card, as I once suffered back in the day. So yeah, you know what? I'm down for it. Let's do it. So I've been applying for positions, like I said, and still waiting to hear back from a lot. Probably not going to hear back from any, because that's just how cooked the job market is. But we'll wait and see, of course. But yeah, the main announcement is, yeah, I'm going to go back to my 9 p.m. streams. Because it's, yeah, it's basically the same thing as it used to be even before I worked, right? I'd just do my thing throughout the day and then get ready for a stream at 9 p.m., finish by 10, and, you know, I'll have some free time before bed and then go to bed. So, yeah, that's the big change. Hi, Brooks. You can go to Alt F4 and you will get ALX 2049 tokens in pre-sale. There you go. There's the answer to all your questions. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow then at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Write it down. Don't miss it. Activate notification bell and subscribe to channel for me happy. All right.